Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC, and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so we've got a good one on tonight, something a little bit different once again. So we're going to be building this awesome Thermaltake Core P5 Snow Edition case.
Indeed.
So one of the this will be what was that? Ah, that's all right. As long as and then you push over the other one. That's all right. Anyway, so this case requires a little bit of assembly. So the feet need to be attached.
Like IKEA.
A little bit like IKEA, without any instructions.
Definitely
So,
not a first person.
Yeah, don't do this to yourself if you haven't sort of put a PC together before. Wall-mountable PC, yeah. So basically, if I can turn it around without knocking anything over again. This bracket here attaches to the mainframe, and there's bolt holes through the back panel that goes on here, and this is a wall mount panel. So it's the same as like what the sort of configuration you'd see on the back of a TV or something like that. So the feet can be removed and the whole thing can just be mounted to the wall. And it's not going to bend that back panel because the back panel doesn't actually do any supporting. It's all through this panel we have over here. Alrighty, well that's a bit bad. There's 3 screws that I missed underneath that that tray there for the vertical mount graphics cards. That's okay. We'll get to that. Anyway. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be a cool PC. The only thing that's going to be a little bit different here tonight is we don't have a graphics card because Ryan, the guy who ordered this PC, he's got a 2080 Ti, and you know he doesn't have endless money to spend on high-end graphics card as well. He was like, I'd spend like $1,500 on a new graphics card, and then I sort of explained to him that if he's got a 2080 Ti, $1,500 is only going to get you at best 2080 Ti performance. So unless you're prepared to go up to $2,000 or above, probably not the best time to replace that 2080 Ti. I think you might want to hold on to it. So I convinced him just to hold on to his 2080 Ti, and because I mean, what's not broken doesn't need to be fixed, basically. And yeah, I mean, $1,500 to spend on a new graphics card, and you're only going to get the same performance as what you've already got. I wouldn't do that to anyone. You'd be pissed. Imagine how pissed you'd be, eh? Oh yeah, I got this new graphics card. It's going to be sweet. Oh shit, it's the same as my old one. Oh. I spent $1,500 on it. Alrighty. So we've got an i7 12700KF here for our CPU. So we've gone with one of the, basically an awesome value proposition right now. I mean, you can pick these up for under $600. And the sort of performance that you get off this absolutely obliterates all of the 11th gen and the Ryzen 5000 in terms of gaming performance. So, I can't say enough good things about it. It's just like when Ryzen launched Ryzen 5000, and basically all the people who build PCs and stuff, we were all just like, yep, these are great, love them, absolutely love them, sort of thing. It's the same kind of thing with this new tech. We always get excited by genuinely good new products that perform well. So here we go. Here's Ryan. Hey man, how you going? Good to have you here. So yeah, we're going to get started. I was just telling everyone how you've already got a 2080 Ti, so because you didn't want to spend 3080 money on a new graphics card, that I just convinced you to keep your 2080 Ti because it's pretty much the same performance as what you would have spent $1,500 or so on. Anyway, and so for our motherboard here, we've got the Gigabyte ultra durable Z690 UD-AX DDR4 version. Really not much point going DDR5 right now in terms of the performance that we're getting. Like, they're higher speed, but the latency is huge, like really high latency. So we would really want to see much higher speeds if the CAS latency was as high as what it is for DDR5. So I mean, this might be a little bit hard beyond some people's like knowledge and stuff with memory, but just because they released the new DDR5 doesn't mean that you're going to get like way more performance from that. It was just like when DDR4 launched, when we had DDR3. The first sort of DDR4 that was coming out, it was like 2133 megahertz, right? And that cost a fortune to get that. And then what are we stuck with now? I mean, realistically, most people who buy memory these days, they're getting kits between 3200 and 3600, and they overclock to 3400 to 3800 usually. So that's kind of like the sweet spot for DDR4. Much higher, nearly up to twice, like pushing twice as much speed as what it was when it first came out. So realistically, the price for DDR5 really high, and the performance not really there yet. So basically hold off 12 months or so before you get DDR5, because you'll probably get faster kits, cheaper prices, and just all round a better value proposition. Who have we got?
Anthony says, what's up?
Hey Anthony, how you going?
Tom says, 2080 Ti 6.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's still a really good card. It's like RTX 3070 performance. So it's still like a $1,600, like, if you didn't have a graphics card and you wanted 2080 Ti level performance, it's a $1,600 investment on your part. It's still got value as far as I'm concerned.
Richard says, hi Tim.
Hey Richard, how you going?
Matt says, hello Tim, love your work.
Oh, hey Matt, thanks for that. Always like hearing the positive feedback. Alrighty, so let's get started here. So the only other components that I didn't mention was just our memory. So we've got two kits of Corsair Vengeance RGB 3200 MHz CL16 memory. So just a little fun fact with memory and latency, now that we're talking, a 3200 MHz CL16 kit is more or less on par with a 3600 MHz CL18 kit. So it's the speed increases, but the latency's increased. So that plays a role in it as well. It's not all about that speed number, it's also about that latency number as well. So you'll see commonly on this channel, when an ordinary person buys a PC, I'll normally put in a kit of 3200 or 3600 megahertz RAM. That's pretty much the standard for an ordinary person in a gaming PC right now. You can spend a little bit more to get basically the top performing DDR4, which is the 3600 CL16. So same latency as the standard 3200 kits, but at that faster 3600 megahertz speed. The only drawback is with some of the cheaper kits, they don't overclock very well, so then you can't push it that little bit more. It's a bit of a mess when you get into memory and trying to work out what's actually the best value. But Hardware Unboxed do some really good stuff with memory there if you're interested. So we've also got a 1TB Gen 4 SSD, a Seagate FireCuda, and we wanted an additional USB-C on the back of the case here, so we've got another USB-C. So we've got a couple of riser cables here for it. So we're actually gonna need a riser cable for this little card, believe it or not. Probably one of the funniest uses of a riser cable. But the thing is, I actually have a spare 180 degree Gen 3 riser cable, and I pretty much can't use it in almost any other build other than like one like this, because most of them doesn't have all this space down here for the 180 degree thing. So I'll show you. Oh wait, I don't think I've got one. No, I don't think I've got one handy. But the other ones, basically the PCIe slot is up on a 90 degree angle, so like that. So then it can be plugged into the motherboard, and you just put this cable down the bottom, and then the graphics card just plugs in like that. It's nice and easy. This one here needs to be plugged in, and then you need to have it like down here. So you need to have the cables sticking down a little bit to have these 180 degree ones. So basically, this only works in a tiny fraction of the cases that someone will want a side-mounted graphics card in. So I have to, it's been sitting there it's a spare I've had for over 12 months now. I haven't had another use for it, and I was just like, yeah, we're just going to chuck that in this one, so you can have this card and the side-mounted graphics card installed. So something a little bit different there. And we've got some cable extensions here, some nice black and grey ones, and a Gigabyte P850GM 80 plus gold power supply there, 850 watts with a 5-year warranty. And I think that's everything. Oh, the cooler here is an Inwin SR36 Pro, all-in-one liquid cooler with the twin turbine pump and the 5-year warranty. Alrighty, so let's have a look at this board. I always laugh at this because like Gigabyte UD, that's their budget ones, and this doesn't really. When we have a look at the features of it, this doesn't really sort of scream to me budget board. But I guess maybe this is the new paradigm. This is what a budget board looks like. Alrighty, so here we have the Gigabyte UD Z690AX motherboard. So up the top here we've got 12 pins of CPU power. I think it's a 16 plus 3 phase or something power delivery there. Really solid power delivery. Obviously our LGA 1700 socket there. The sneaky fan header up here. Got our main CPU and CPU optional fan header here. Got a 5V, 12V RGB header. 4 slots for our memory, dual channel over 4 slots. 24 pin ATX power, the main power for our motherboard. 2 more fan headers. USB 3 front panel connection, USB-C front panel connection, Thunderbolt headers directly on the motherboard there. We have 6 horizontally orientated SATA ports there. We have obviously our CMOS battery, our clear CMOS header there. We've got our front panel connection and diagnostic speaker header in there. We've got a flash BIOS button and a reset button on the actual motherboard there. Obviously another fan header down here, so that's a total of 6 fan headers so far. We've got 2 USB 2s down here, trusted platform module header, another 12V and 5V RGB header, demo LED, COM port interface, Sony Philips digital interface there, and front panel audio connections. So yeah, a lot of features there on this board. Around the back here, obviously our audio, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, 4 USB 3s, 2 USB 3.2s including 1 Type-C, DisplayPort HDMI, these won't be in use for this build. We've got 4 USB 2s, we've got Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1 there on the board. And that just brings us to this stuff in the middle. So we've got 1, 2, 3 M2 slots. We've got our main PCIe X16 slot. Then down here we've got this one here, which is an X1 slot, the same as these, and this one at the bottom is an X4. And so that is all the main features here on this motherboard. So I remember when like $1,000 motherboard plus had features like this, and it wasn't too long ago. But this isn't a cheap board. This is a $340 motherboard. So it's just that the Z690s, there's no cheap ones. They don't. You can't make a board like this to go with like the new 12th Gen i7 and i9 and have it be a piece of crap. You just can't do that. You've got to have good power delivery. You've got to have good modern features on the board. It's got to be up to the task basically for the new hardware. So the only thing I've got to do now is I've got some really horribly placed sticky around the back here, and it is just so bad to remove. Ugh, it just rips. It's the only thing I don't like about this motherboard. It's got great features. I would quite happily daily drive this motherboard. I'm kind of pissed off because I'm not completely satisfied with the board I'm currently running, and so I'm looking at this one going.
A lot of troubles in the last few days.
Yeah, random bullshit.
Random bullshit. And then it takes forever to load. Sometimes it restarts.
It's got. I've got my own PC problems. See, the thing is, when you do what I do, and you have your own PC problems, you get like complacent about dealing with them because it's like your job, and you're like, oh yeah, fucking stupid thing.
It's starting to affect me.
Well, yeah, it's starting to. Well, it was starting to. One of the problems pissed me off so much. I actually got into the registry and stuff, and started making some changes in there to solve my problem, which is obviously, if you're a little bit unfamiliar, that's a pretty extreme kind of remedy right there. To go do adjustments in the system registry, but that's what I ended up having to do to solve my problem. Anyway, enough bitching from me about my own computer problems, and more putting together this PC. So we've got our 12700KF, so obviously being a K series CPU, this is the top tier of a CPU from Intel, if it's got the K or KF. The F just means it doesn't have onboard graphics.
All those things on the side, they're like SSDs.
No, that's where radiator mounts.
Oh.
So it's you could fit like a big 420mm radiator on it if you wanted. So if Ryan wanted to do an upgrade at some point, he could get the awesome new Corsair 420mm all-in-one liquid cooler with an addressable screen. You can upload GIFs and moving images to it and do whatever you want. It's probably the coolest all-in-one liquid cooler on the market right now. I rate it above like any of Leon Lee, NZXT, any of them. I'd much rather that Corsair one.
So,
yeah.
it says it says that's a cool box.
Yeah, so this is the Thermaltake Core P5. There's a few different sizes. This is the massive one. So there's a smaller one called the P3.
Well, the people like to do hard tubing.
Yeah, in these big open frame ones. Well, I mean, you can fit, because like with custom loops, you can put whatever radiator you want in. So that's why they've made it for the 420s, even though there's only a couple of 420 AIOs available right now.
Ryan says, how much extra does that cost?
Oh, that's the thing, man. It was going to cost an extra $300 for the cooler. That's the only reason why I wasn't like trying to sell you that one. I was like, oh man, he's on. Because didn't we start with like around $1,500, and then this got pretty expensive at the end with all the stuff that we added to it and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to swap. I'm happy to swap the cooler out for that one, but yeah.
1500.
Yeah, we started at we started at
He says
1500.
Bro would have done it since
No. This is good. This is good for a while, and then you can plan your upgrade. That cooler will probably come down in price too. That's the other thing, because it's only just released, and there's only a couple of 420mm all-in-one liquid coolers on the market, so they know they've got something unique at the moment, so it's pretty expensive. But I would expect it to come down below $450.
Ryan says his missus still thinks it's costing him 500.
Oh man, she sees this case, she might be like, holy shit, the case looks like it costs $500. Alrighty, so I'm not 100% sure on this board whether the bottom two slots there are PCIe 3 or 4. I think they're 4, but I'm going to put this SSD in the top slot there, just because I know that the top slot is definitely Gen 4, and if we're putting a Gen 4 SSD in, we may as well have something that's performing at the extra rate, considering we paid all that extra money for it.
Oh no. Dude, you dug yourself a grave. And he says his wife still thinks his 8K PC cost him 1500. Dude. Uh-oh. Brian says he's watching this with headphones in case you think it's smart one.
Yeah. So this drive here, this is the cheapest possible SSD that you can put in here. It's not a $200 SSD or anything. It's only a $50 SSD. Viacuta's the shit one. Yeah.
Ryan says he just paid Venom too, so we can wash this. Sweet.
Alrighty, well we got our memory,
Worth it.
we got our CPU installed, and now we need to put on the backplate. So we don't have an exact match here with the backplate. So I have to use, this backplate here has two positions. So one for LGA 1200 and one for LGA 2011. We have an LGA 1700, so that's a totally different socket configuration. So we need to use like a custom configuration for these bolt holes. So we got top one's done. It's like playing a jigsaw puzzle, getting these four wheels in line perfectly, all corners, so that we can put in our cooler. So that was a spare backplate that I had that's the same as what's in this box here. So this cooler here, this is a great cooler for $150. You pretty much can't go wrong. 5-year warranty. Twin turbine, I should say. Twin turbine. Twin turbine, what's that? Like Osama bin Laden with like 2 turbines? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. Don't even know what I'm saying, alright?
Okay.
Alright.
So,
Yeah.
Ron wants to know how much better would be more expensive one look.
What's that?
How much better would the more expensive one look?
Oh, well, it's basically... So this cooler's got 3 120mm fans. The other one's got 3 140mm fans, so it's maybe like 20% longer and maybe 10% wider or something. She's smelling the power supply.
Oh, shut up! No, I'm not.
She likes the smell of new electronics.
It reminds me of my dad's old Galaxy Den. You live in Australia and you remember?
Galaxy, yes. They were a thing.
Before Foxtel.
Yep. Well, Foxtel bought them, didn't they? Isn't that how it worked?
So, Darren says, hey Tim.
Hey, Darren. How you going? That's better. What's up?
Anthony says the worst thing is supposed to be sniffing. Good luck.
Yes, that is definitely true.
Indeed. Oh jeez, there's a sticker around the back of this.
Yep.
Is that like a new thing for them?
Yep. It's just reassuring customers that it's definitely not going to explode on them. But hey, I had an EVGA power supply blow up on me like the other day, which is weird because EVGA are known for good quality power supplies, and it was just randomly, and it was in front of a customer, which was weird. The customer got to see me turn on a test bench and have the power supply blow up. Hopefully he realises that it was just the power supply.
How many solders do you want?
Yeah, just we'll probably just install all the cables onto this.
Oh, okay.
Because there's plenty of room out back. Like there is a lot of room out back. And we're gonna see we've got this hole down here. We're just gonna feed all the power cables through in one big bunch.
Okay.
One thing I need to do is take that hard drive tray out. How does that work? Oh, okay. Just the 2 bolts.
Mixes. Mrs. Mr. and Mrs.
Hey Mick, how you going?
Mine's so sorry, no, lost connection.
Nah, it's all good, man. That's all good.
Anthony says, oosh, it was a bit naughty what you were doing with that whole Tim. Wow.
We got this tank hard drive tray that I'm taking off here. You should check this out. I'll give you. Oh, that's right. I got plenty of them. Three 3.5-inch trays. Plus.
What?
And they attach to this big tray here. So I'm just going to get that out of the way because I can see that annoying the shit out of me. And so for our orientation of our radiator, so we could go. You can either do something, it's probably going to be a bit tight, isn't it? Yeah, that'll be a bit tight, put it like that. We'll do it. Roughly like that. So the cables, I guess it really doesn't matter which end, if we're vertically mounting it like this. Sorry, I'm just working out which way I'm putting the fans on the radiator. What's up? What's up?
He says, Peter, if I talk too much. Can't wait to go back to Uluru. So glad I can't walk on that anymore. To be honest, I thought that was a bit disrespectful in the first place.
Yeah, we didn't walk on it. Alrighty.
I should be so glad I'm not building a PC and just take
Yeah, but you've got to build more so you get quicker.
Still trying to learn which way the fucking cable's going to the PC, for fuck's sake. And
Yeah.
it says this old man's PC is better.
Ah, yes. I'm sure. Yeah, from what it probably
I had
was.
some stickers set aside for you, for your old dude, but Tim forgot. Sorry. If you want them, they're here. It says your man's PC is Windows Vista.
Oh no.
Oh,
Windows Vista
I wanna
was.
hope not.
Windows Vista was like. Do you want to know something funny about Windows Vista?
What?
Runs great on modern hardware.
Oh yeah.
It's
it does.
awesome. Everything works completely fine. Nothing's slow. Everything just opens up, but it's no longer supported by Microsoft, so you can't really use it. Who?
Seems heavy now. Okay. I was gonna do that,
Let's put it in a lasagna tray. Yeah.
now says the HDMI monitor, there is no VGA connection.
Oh, yes. That is one thing about modern motherboards. They very rarely have a VGA. There would have
You
been.
can get a conversion cable.
Yeah, you can get a HDMI to VGA. Yeah, you can just get a cable.
Tim?
Yeah.
It says I found it funny that new PCs with Vista have the same option to roll back to Windows XP. Would you say HDMI extender is a good idea when 0.5 meters short?
I'd probably just get a new cable rather than try to extend one that I already had, because that's probably realistically going to be probably cheaper, and keep the other one as a spare. That's probably what I'd do. Okay, well we've got our cooler on the board there now, so we can probably look at the power supply now. Yeah.
Now it's a good one for 200.
Monitor. I'll send you a message. Yep, definitely. So this goes on like this, but I think we'll probably put this on the power supply and then just put the whole power supply in. Okay. I'm going to put this bracket.
Sorry.
Yeah. What's that?
Oh, I was saying that thing's so heavy.
Yeah.
I was trying to hand it over to you.
this one is the support bracket. So first we attach that. Should be right. Oh, hang on. No. Got that power. That bracket has to go on the power supply the other way because the fan can't be up against the case. I've just done that the wrong way around. Don't mind me. I do that from time to time. I think it's a consequence of like talking and doing other things while you're doing stuff.
It's called brain fart.
Brain fart. Mark it down as a brain fart, eh? Okay. That's looking better. What? Yeah, but there's no like good ones. At like 850 watts.
Yeah, no.
I wasn't gonna not install a good one.
Tim.
Yeah.
Rises Tim. This is your first time.
Maybe. No, I get things around the wrong way all the time. I fuck things up. I don't pay enough attention to what I'm doing. That's just a consequence of doing it for a while. You just like, you get lazy. Yeah.
I call it robot mode.
Robot mode, yeah, exactly. Yep, I'm totally with you. I totally get that analogy.
That's all good. We all have them issues.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. I know for a fact that is the case. Having had jobs where I've got to deal with people and manage people and stuff, I'm very much aware of how that works. Alrighty, so we get all of these cables. So I said we're just going to install them all. Probably won't fit them all through there in one bunch because it is quite big. But we're going to feed them through this grommet. Yep. That's it. So the only trick to this is just making sure that your cables are kind of more or less in line when you do this, just so it looks neat at the end and doesn't just look like random cables haphazardly.
Ryan says, oh my god, I just realised that was my tower. He says, I thought it was some jig board you had set up.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Is definitely your tower, and yeah, it is not. It's not in its complete form. There's a whole heap of glass to go on it and stuff like that.
And extra bolts and whatnot.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. We're gonna install it all by the end.
There's all this as well.
So you definitely picked the right case to come to someone else to build it for you,
Plus,
because yeah, it's definitely going to be.
the small glass panels, plus there's more downstairs as well, so, you know. Bloody hell. Well, I says, I thought I ordered pink. To be honest, that would actually look really nice in pink.
Yeah, actually would look kind of cool. You could totally get away with that. We could probably get away with getting these cases in white. It doesn't matter what color, and just respray them.
Yeah.
You could respray them whatever color you wanted, and then that'd be cool. So if someone who wanted something like this, case like this, you've got options, right?
Anthony says it's Cell in his first form. Oh jeez.
You got the sticky off,
Yeah,
right?
I did.
I should have known. Alright, so I've got our power supply installed. We've got basically a whole heap of offsets to install now.
It says, well, she has a pink Mac next to my PC.
Yep.
Ew, Mac.
Oh no, not Mac.
Oh no, it made its way into bin. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I have this better pink PC. It's way better.
Have you seen the ad where Intel sells PCs to Apple people?
Yes, that was so good.
That was a really good ad. So we've got 9 offsets to install here for our ATX motherboard.
And it says that's what I said. And she got mad if I wouldn't buy a $300 keyboard.
Yeah.
No. Don't worry. Don't buy that. She's silly. Mac,
Yeah.
Too expensive when you have to buy all this extra bullshit. I really don't like that.
I just don't like how you pay more and get less.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't like. And they sell you this like bullshit like crap about, oh, we're so much better and everything's better and
But it's not.
but dude,
It's
it's
not.
still less for more. It's still less for more. And I'm locked into your world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be locked into your world.
Mine says mine was 400 though, so she mad. Well, you can buy some pretty good pink mechanical like keyboard.
Yeah, you can get
device.
awesome ones. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm thinking it's time to get this board up in this case. So we don't have an I/O shield to install, just got a nice open frame at the back. Luckily we have the sort of built-in I/O shield on this motherboard. So
It's a Francis Motherboard lasts like 40 hours gameplay. Logitech wireless thing. Maybe you need to invest in like a keyboard. Are you right? Do you want a hand? I think you need a hand.
once I get one bolt in, we're all sorted. Just get this one up here for a bit of stability. Okay, that's not going anywhere. So that's all the bolts that you need to install. It's all sorted. Done. No, not really. So these cables here just get bent like that. It's nice and straight, in line with each other. Like that, you barely see me. So if you can hold that in place, I can get a couple of bolts in. Just a second. Yep. Yeah.
It says, careful, that cost me $5. Is that the motherboard?
Sorry?
It says, is that the motherboard? No.
No.
It's the radiator.
Alrighty. So what we got for our front I/O here? We have 2 2s, 2 3s, reset, power, pretty basic. But we will do a bit of sneaky cable work here. So this is the dual 2. Dual USB 2. Which doesn't want to fit behind my case. Ah. God damn it. It's because it's got those 2 cables.
So,
Yeah.
no, so just lay it down and make a coffee table. Yes. Very nice coffee table, actually.
Yep. There we go. That's in there, and you barely know it's connected. Now we've got our front panel audio. Hopefully this won't cause us as much dramas. Nope. That was nice and easy. Where's that missing pin situated?
All you people without the numpad, they're freaking monsters. You need that numpad.
Well, if it's a business computer, absolutely you need that numpad. But if it's a gaming computer, you don't really need it because you don't use those buttons. But I've got one without a numpad right there.
I like them.
But I've got one. I got one here without a numpad, but it's a pain in the ass to use. I hate it. I hate it. I'm like, yeah, I've got one, but I hate it.
Hate it. Turn over fire. For instance, is bought a separate numpad.
Yeah. Yep, that's always an option. You can just keep it in a drawer until you need it. But no, I've got a...
It doesn't look complete without the numpad though. It's not satisfying without the numpad. It's a numpad. I'm sorry. You're a monster if you don't have a numpad.
There we go. And our front panel connections.
And for instance, mine's a gaming keyboard, so I like how it sits in my desk.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, I totally understand that.
Yeah. You need a numpad.
You're not gonna convince Christine. You'll never convince Christine of this. She's a strong-minded woman, and when she decides something, she's pretty steadfast. Okay. She knows what she likes, and she knows what she doesn't like. Okay, so I don't think I'm gonna have any other cables to route behind the motherboard. The only other thing we're gonna need.
What's a razor tartars?
What's that?
Well, it reminds me if you play with a razor tartar.
Look it up. Look it up.
No, I'm gonna. Okay.
Yeah, that's that's all you need for gaming, babe.
Yeah.
That is literally all you need for gaming. There are plenty of people.
I don't like change.
But you only use those buttons. Like literally a gamer's keyboard.
Yeah,
Those
I get
buttons
it, I
will
get
be
it, I
worn,
get it.
and then the rest of it will never be pressed.
I'm just old.
You're just old. Hey, you said it. You said it. All right.
Anthony says, result PM. Looked and picked one. It's absolutely satisfying and glorious. Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. Brian says it's like a numpad and joystick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Don't like change.
Yeah. Don't feel bad. You'll never convince her. Take it from the person who's
Each to
tried
their
for
own.
a long
I'm not
time.
going to say no. Don't do that. But
Okay. And we'll plug that into our CPU header there. And that looks pretty good. So we've got all of our RGB hooked up and connected to the board. Now we've got some cables to sort out. So all of these cables, except for our CPU. Where's our other CPU?
Yoshi. Actually, one of my favorite games. Two down.
Yoshi.
Dual screen. See? Nice. Very nice.
I think we're really going to need...
No, it's better than Yoshi though.
What?
It is.
Alrighty.
Ooh, so
Yeah.
MST on YouTube said Peyton I'm so excited for Monday because I'm getting ultra wide monitor.
Oh, nice. That's very cool. Okay, what do we got here? We've only got...
So
Yeah.
yeah, it says we're trying to go away from it now and should be being hard to swap between games. Trying to remember what keys or Florida, etc. She's so lit now.
That's awesome. I think I've got another pack of these for another build. And we don't need the CPU cable from the other build, but I do need two of them here. Yeah, so the case that these are going in tomorrow, you won't see, you can't see the CPU cables once the cooler's installed. So we're just going to use that for this. Yeah, it's going to look awesome, man. I'm pretty excited to see how this turns out. Plenty of room to work with back here.
This is good. This is such a good case. I'll send you pics once she's home.
Yeah, sweet. Alrighty, so should get away without any clips on those CPU ones. I should be able to position those cables right, but we definitely need some on the others. Yeah.
This looks awesome. Dylan says, I got this case in black for mine.
Ah, nice. Yeah, yeah. You can get this case comes in black and grey, and I mean, realistically, it could easily be painted. So, you know, if someone wanted...
If someone wanted teal for you girls, we can so totally do that.
Yeah.
That would actually look really nice. Ooh, I want to do that for myself. Tim. It's like, no. My birthday's coming up.
Sorry, I'm just getting these bastard things in. You don't like
hate
these.
those. I hate those things.
There's a trick to it though.
Yeah, but you've got a stronger grip than I do.
You pull them apart, you bend it apart, and then you force them in.
Yeah, I get
it's
it.
It's yeah. It's doable. It's a bit painful at first, but
Dylan says they look so good. I'm done with RGB.
yep. Alright, so we just installed these combs here on the cable just to keep it all nice and neat.
Things. Dylan says he just needs graphics card and water cooling for it.
Yep.
Tim.
Yep.
Lauren says she'll have a 2080 Ti. I'm too cheap to upgrade.
Yeah. No, that's like
Totally understandable though.
yeah.
The 2080 Ti is still pretty freaking good.
Yeah, well, like we discussed at the start, like
Mhm.
it's basically a 3070. So unless you've got more than like $1,700 to spend on your graphics card upgrade, probably not the best time to do it. Hold tight. There's always, this is the thing about this industry, right? There's always new tech coming out. Always. It's one thing you can always count on is that there's always a new version coming out soon. Alright, so I've got all the cables that I need to get in place now. So I'm just on to fastening all of the bolts in place for our motherboard. And this will be a very clean looking build because there's just not a lot of cables that we need for this. And so I haven't decided what display output I'm going to use for this build. Alrighty, okay, so the only cable I haven't plugged in out the back here is our USB 3. And we can just sort of slide that in, sort of in the shadow of our motherboard cable. And that looks pretty good for what it is. Okay. The SATA and Molex cables. I only need like one strand of SATA for this. There's definitely nothing else I'm missing. Okay. So all that's really left at this stage is our graphics card and this thing. So oh, got that around the wrong way. So let's use. We don't need any more than this X1 slot for this device. So I'm just going to use that. And they can sort of sit out there, I think. Oh, the thing is, I really like it. I really like to put the graphics card in the outer position. Okay, so that just slots in like that, believe it or not. And I think as long as we can we get it there? I think we can get it there. Okay, so that one's in place. And so now we've got our main one here. There's no easy open tab. And this is also another 180-degree cable. But this one we're going to plug into our top slot. There we go, that looks good. And then that's just going to sit down there in front of that other card for our graphics card. Now, what graphics card will I use for this? Honestly, I think we're just going to use something pretty dunger. I'm going to use the display adapter I use on the test bench. And so this isn't a graphics card that, you know, many people can really take advantage of, but it suits my purposes for a test card. This is a little GT17 with a few extra stickers that my wife put on it. It's got an X1 interface and 4 HDMI outputs on the back. So it can't game, but it displays the Windows screen really well. Really well. So we're going to use that card tonight. I know it's not very exciting. We don't get to see all the gaming benchmarks and everything like that. But it will allow us to get everything installed and all ready for our new card. So once again, this just goes in the X1 slot there. Sorry, it goes in the X16 riser slot, even though it's only got an X1 interface, because you can always plug in a smaller PCIe card into a bigger slot, but you can't so much do it the other way around, because, you know, physics is a thing. So alrighty, so the only other thing I'm going to do before we fire it up is I'm just going to prep a few of these cables here for our graphics card. And so if Ryan's still here in the comments, maybe he can let me know what power cables are on his particular 2080 Ti. Like, is it just two 8-pins, or are we talking something else? We're talking, like, you know, an 8-pin and a 6-pin or something. I don't know. I'm assuming it's two 8-pins. That's what I'd be guessing. But I don't know exact what model card you've got, so. Because I've got some 6-pin, I've got some actual 6-pin sleeved cables here if you use any 6-pin. And if you just use two 8-pins, I've got the two 8-pins here as well. So I'll get them all ready so you can just plug in your graphics card when you get it. Yeah, I'll do this. I've got a 6600 XT behind me as well, but the reason I'm not going to use that one is because we're putting in an NVIDIA card, so I want to install like GeForce Experience and some of the NVIDIA software, so that's all pre-installed for Ryan. So I definitely want to use an NVIDIA card for this, because it won't let me install that other software, and yeah, just a pain basically, swap between the two sorts of graphics cards like that. Alright, so there's one 8-pin. I'm pretty sure it'll have two 8-pins. Most 2080 Ti's I'm familiar with have two 8-pins for their power. Whereas some 2080s I think I've seen that have an 8 and a 6. I'm gonna prep these up, because I've got another kit of these cables going in tomorrow night's build. So if I don't use these ones, I can use these tomorrow. Shit, put that one away. Damn it. See, I'm good at putting things on the wrong way. If you're a man, I guarantee there's something you always put on the wrong way at first. Oh, freaking hell. Dylan's asking about second-hand graphics cards. They're few and far between, put it that way. Everyone wants a second-hand graphics card. 2/8 and a 6. I think it'll be. Yeah. Alright, we'll get the 6 done as well. Alrighty, so we've got those modular cables there. I'll just plug these in out the back, and we don't need them for what we've got here, right here. Alrighty, so they're just good to go. They can just stay at the back there for now. So a little bit of cables back here, but that was the plan because we don't really need everything that's up here. Now that this is all done, I want to put this back in place. Okay, so I'm going to have to move this power cable here behind. Okay. So now I'm just putting back in the bracket for the hard drives. First bolt's the hardest. Sweet as. Bloody hell. Seriously? Okay. So we've got all our RGB and fans hooked up there. Most of these cables running over there is behind that tray there now. Our power cable in place there. We've got SATA power for our pump. We've got our graphics card extender cables. So that's all looking pretty good. So we're ready to give this a go and see if it actually works. Actually, no. No, actually, let's see if it works first before I put other stuff on it. Then I'll have to take it all off again. That'll make me a sad panda. Alrighty, well let's test our other PCIe USB ports there. I want to make sure they're okay. And we'll plug in power supply and we'll plug in a HDMI cable. Alrighty, so we've got nothing plugged into the motherboard. Oh, and we're on. Okay. Sweet as. So, looks like both our riser cables are functioning. I've got the keyboard and mouse hooked up through that new PCIe card. And before we do anything, we are going to upgrade our BIOS. Where are we? QFlash. So we have Z690, it's F5. Really? Okay, got version F5. We can turn on our XMP, can plug in a Windows USB. And we can save and exit. Okay, let's get this started. Oh, what's happened here? Windows wasn't talking nicely to that USB card. So I'll enter this product code because I'm pretty sure Ryan wants to pick this up tomorrow. I don't want to forget. Okay. Okay. So install that. But first we need an internet connection. Alright, let's put down some custom icons here so everything stays nice and neat and tidy. Oh. Okay, no Acronis, none of that. BattleNet. Okay. Okay, so we've got the front and the top on that case. Alrighty, I think that's everything from. Oh, hang on, GeForce Experience. Do need that. Okay. Don't need that, don't need that. It's done. It's done. Just got these to install. Definitely nothing I forgot. Nope. we're nearly done. Before I do any of that, let's restart. While that does that, alrighty, that's all done. Oh shit, did I just shut her down? Sweet as. Big glass box. So it looks a little bit empty because there's no actual graphics card in it. It'll have another lot of cables coming out there. We could put another RGB fan on the bottom there just to cover up that hole. But yeah, all in all, this is a really nice showpiece case. Mounted on the wall. Do whatever you want with it, really. We've got 2 USB-Cs out the back, a total of 6 USB 3s, yeah, and then 4 USB 2s. So plenty of USB ports. Definitely not going to be short on USB ports. And I like it because I can have all the panels on this case and I can reach in here and still neaten things up. Alrighty, so what do we have to do to make heaven run on a GT 710? Well, I'll show you. Oh, I didn't set up MSI Afterburner. So obviously I'm just using a crappy, not a gaming graphics card basically. I'll fall short of calling it crappy because I don't really think it's crappy, it's just not a gaming graphics card. It's a budget card with 4 display outputs. What's not to love about that? Alrighty, so I'm thinking that would be about 20 to 30 frames a second. Let's give it a go. Oh, a little bit better. Quality's horrible though, but you know, this would be playable, so if you're in a pinch you can always turn the resolution down to get something to run. Look at that, 50 frames a second, that's good. Oh shit, what? Ah, okay, it's not actually displaying anything for anyone. So it's not, doesn't support that resolution. That's my capture card not supporting it. If I take it off full screen, that should work. It's going a bit, roughly the same. So it's at 100%, 58 degrees. Yeah, it's 58 degrees. Alright, let's just, we don't need to see any more of that, I don't think. Quick squirt on our SSD. Sweet. SSD performing as expected. Yeah, sweet. Sweet. Alrighty. So this will be a little bit of a different stress test because I'm not really, I don't really have to stress a graphics card in this case, but I will run the Cinebench as per normal. Okay. It's all looking good. We're sitting at 4.7, doing the AVX2. So we've got our P cores, power cores, and then we've got our efficiency cores. And I don't need to stress test my own display output graphics card. That's not going to serve any purpose. Yeah, Ryan, with regards to that, if you want me to tune the resize bar stuff, I'll need to have your graphics card actually in the PC to do that. So bring it with you tomorrow when you come pick it up, and we can do that before you leave. CPU's behaving itself, which is good. Alrighty. Well, this is the point of the night where I throw it over to anyone else who's got any other final questions for me before I sign off. But yes, once we get a proper graphics card in here, some more cables. Let me know if you want to add another fan there so it looks more full. You can do that. That's no issues. But yeah, happy days. And then yeah, by having this case, man, you don't have to worry about upgrades. You can upgrade whatever you want. You can do whatever you want in this case. There is room. You can remove all of the glass panels around it, so you can just take the whole thing off if you just want it to be completely open. I just thought I'd put in the glass frame around it, so at least when you pick it up, it's got it like all assembled the way that it's meant to go, so it doesn't do your head in. But yes, no, it's all come up pretty good. It's just a little bit of a pain to put it all together, but yeah, I mean, the PC building part was nice and easy. There's plenty of room to do everything. And so that looks like it just looks like it's all glass pretty much. I've always thought of doing a build like this for myself, but I'm always like, oh no, you don't need that. No, I've got a pretty cool case anyway. Yeah. So it's got a top glass panel here, so you can either take that off or not. Like all these panels, you can remove any combination of them and leave them connected. It's basically got these 4 bars that go in from the back of the case there, and then it's got these little like square cubes that fit over the bars, and they've got screw holes in them. And then there's just some rubber washers in between them, so you don't have metal on glass and stuff. So it's pretty simple like that. But yeah, you can, like I said, you can remove all of the glass and those 4 big bolts, and you can just bolt it to the wall and just have that panel there, the white bit only, basically. So you could do whatever you wanna do. Ryan's like, yeah, just need the card. Yeah, man, just grab the card, and then we'll just put it in. We'll make sure it's all working sweet. Yeah, we'll get the resized bar going on for you. But yeah, should be good. And then the good thing about this as well, if you want to add another couple of M2 SSDs, you can pretty much reach in there behind that cable and like slot them in. Might be a little bit hard to screw them in, but you know, at least they're sort of right there and accessible. Yeah, the only thing I had to do is I had to slightly bend this panel here at the top just to get that other metal bolt there in place. But you can barely notice it. Barely notice that. No, I think it looks good. I'd get like RGB strips and all that shit for it. RGB cable extenders. I'd save up and get that $450 cooler for it. But what you got now is like good quality, good performance and stuff like that. So you can easily just upgrade that in the future. Because like I said, you've got the room there for the 420mm radiator. So may as well use it when you get the opportunity. But yeah, like I said, it's going to cost another $300 on top of this. That's the only reason why I didn't suggest it to you. But yeah, that's something you can look at in the future for sure. Yeah, Mal, that's all good, mate. I'll send you through some stuff. No, look, I think we might wrap it up for the night. So i7's doing well there, behaving itself in terms of temps. Not that I was ever worried about it with this setup, but it's good to see that I've definitely tightened the cooler down. Definitely taken the plastic off it. Alrighty. Well, yeah, I think that might be where we leave it. Alrighty. I think you can see it the case a little bit better now. So definitely so much potential for the future in this case. You'll need to get a bottle of glass cleaner for your room now, mate, with all this glass. right. Alrighty. I'm gonna end it here, I think. So thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you all tomorrow in the next video.